of the ways that I know that Coach really liked me is almost every day after practice, Coach let me run extra laps. Sometimes he would even let me carry a tackle dummy with me. I remember one game we were running a screen pass left. So I snapped the ball, blocked my guy for count of 3, run out to the left flat. I see a defender coming in. It'd been raining that day and the field was a little slippery, trust me, okay? So as a defender comes up, I tried to cut to block him and I went right on my butt. And that wouldn't have been all that bad except for it happened right in front of the bench, right in front of Coach Masco and Coach McGinnis. Coach McGinnis was not a happy camper. I did come out of the game for several sets of downs after that and I had to beg him to get back in the game. Another time we were playing a game, and at the beginning of the game, we weren't moving the ball very good. So when the offense went over the sideline, Coach Masco asked Tom Guthrie, he says, how come you guys ain't moving the ball? And Guthrie told him, Overkamp ain't locking the sky, he ain't getting on the hole. George McGinnis comes over and says, Guthrie, next time you get the ball, you just put your head down and go right through it. So next time we get back out there, we call 36 counter, and that's Guthrie up my hole. Snap the ball. I go to block my guy and he stands me right up. Next thing I know, Guthrie puts his helmet down, he runs right into my back. And I think to this day that's probably why I got back problems. Thanks a lot, Coach. Our line that year was, we had Ron Curry and Jim Blake. Both those guys were all-state football players. The other side of me was Rick Lindsay, and he was all-state and everything. And I think that was an impressive line for me to be playing, but those guys held me up. They really did. Made me look good, I'll tell you that. And I got to mention, I think, in my opinion, I think the 1970 football team was the best one ever to come out of Guilford. Just my opinion. Now, back when I was in 5th grade, I went out for basketball. Bob Morgan was the coach. Barry Nor and I, we sat on the end of the bench. 6th grade, go out for basketball. Bob Morgan's the coach. Barry and I, we sat on the end of the bench. 7th grade, go out for basketball. Bob Morgan's the coach. Barry and I sat on the end of the bench. We're going to be pretty good friends by now, right? 8th grade, same old song and dance. We get into high school, 9th grade. 9th grade football. Guess who our football coach is? Bob Morgan. Barry and I, we didn't play a whole lot, right? End of the football season, we're in the locker room. Somebody comes in and says, hey, guess who's going to be the freshman basketball coach? Who? Bob Morgan. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Well, one of the guys heard us complaining about Morgan to be the coach. They went in, told Coach Cox. Coach sent for us, brought Barry and I in the office. Coach gave us a little pep talk. He told us, he says, you know, in wrestling, he said it don't matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. If you beat the other guys in your weight class, you're going to be varsity. And Barry and I are going, wow, man, that's going to be sweet, man. Wrestling varsity is freshman, man. So I went home that night and told my dad I was going on for wrestling. Dad says, no, you ain't, you're a basketball player. I said, Dad, Bob Morgan's going to be the coach. I'm going to be sitting there on the bench again. Dad finally relented and let me go out for wrestling. At this point, I would like to give a big thank you to Bob Morgan for steering me in the right direction. Basically, this is how my high school career started out. On Thursday night, we were going to have our first meet over in Lloyd North. So I go in the gym about 5:30. Coach says, let's check your weight. I get up on the scale, I'm about 2 pounds over. Barry gets up there, he's overweight too. Coach says, get your sweats on. We put our sweats on, we run around the gym, the bus leaves, we run up and down the bus all the way to Lloyd North. Get over to Lloyd North, get up on the scales, still overweight, put the sweats back on, keep running, everybody else goes and eats. Later on that match, Barry came out, Barry wrestled his very first match in high school, and he won it. I went out there and got pinned in mine. Friday night, after practice, Coach checked my weight. We had a tournament Saturday over in Kalamazoo. Coach says, let's check your weight. I get up on the scale, and I'm about 2 pounds overweight. Now, Frank Cox and Tom Dieterman, those boys, they won them a state title in football, and we were having a big banquet down at Inman's. So, Coach told me, because I was on the freshman team, Coach told me, he says, okay, he says, you can go to the banquet. He says, all you can have is a salad. I said, okay, Coach, you got my word. So we go down to the banquet. I'm sitting at a table with about 10 or 12 guys at it. They got fruit salad. So I told the guys at my table, I said, hey, I'm overweight. Coach told me all I can have is a salad. So almost all those guys gave me their salads. Just have a salad. Go to school the next morning, Coach says, let's check your weight. Get up on the scale, and I'm 3.5 pounds overweight. What did you eat last night? Well, I had a salad, Coach, swear to God. Oh, that was so funny. I just love that story. And they went here, he went and told my Long John story, but that was, coming out of Bell's Bakery, we didn't know nothing about weight, I mean, I bought a half a dozen Long Johns, heck, they didn't even weigh half a pound, what the heck? It worked out real good. One other food story is, Barry, a couple times he come over to spend the night, my night Barry comes over, and we're bored to death, we got to do something, right? So we decided we're going to make a cake. So we made this beautiful strawberry cake, man. We put frosting on top of it. And we sat there and watched, looked at it all night long because we were both overweight and couldn't eat a piece of it. Taught us how to bake, right? I got one other quick food story here. Coach told me if I won state that he would have his wife, who worked on Hardens, he'd have her buy anything I wanted. So after I won state, Coach says, okay, he says, what do you want? I told him I want shrimp. He said, all right, you got it. So we set up a date. I go down to his house. They set me down at the table all by myself, right? Every now and then I see his sisters, or the girls, looking around the corner. Well, Mrs. Cox, she starts cooking me shrimp, and I start eating it. And I'm chowing down. Got done, we counted 67 pieces of shrimp tails. Years later, I run into Cheryl Cox. And she was telling me that, I said, I thought it was kind of weird that I sat down there and ate by myself and stuff like that, and everybody else is out of the room. And she told me that Mom told us that nobody could eat until I was full. They said they stood around that corner and they didn't ever think I was going to get full. There was shrimp left for kids. Now, one of the other things in school that I used to get kidded about was I wore really thick glasses. I had bad eyes, real bad eyes. And I used to get called four eyes and Coke bottle lens and all this kind of stuff, right? So we're having the Galesburg Invitational, and the Michigan School for the Blind is there. And I'm wrestling this kid from Michigan School for the Blind. We go off the mat. The kid grabs me by the hand and brings me back to the side of the mat. I never heard the end of that one. No. Coach Cox had never wrestled. In my freshman year, he got a big boost with help when Jim Sullivan and his beautiful wife Mary moved to town. Sully brought a lot to the team. He was a great wrestler, and so we were able to learn more than just a switch and a single leg. Sully was a great, no offense, Bill. Sully was a great statistician, and he kept immaculate records for years of all of our matches, takedowns, pins, unbelievable stuff. And Sully also was a great coach in his own right. He produced a state champion and a number of finalists after he took over after Coach Cox retired. Sully was a great guy. He was one of a kind. Now in our practice room, we had some of the best wrestlers in the state. And we had Steve Howes, Kevin Osmond, Barry Dorham, Louis Armstrong, David Jones, Dennis O'Leary, Ray Cole, Frank Cox. I read several articles that said I was a protege of Ray. I don't know what it means, but knowing Ray, I don't know if I like that. Frank Cox, I remember Frank when I was a freshman. Frank was a pretty good pole bowler, and so I wanted to be like Frank, so I asked him if he could teach me how to pole bowl. Well, they just came out with the flexible poles, and so Frank, he got the idea of bringing in a bamboo pole, kind of get the idea how it bend a little bit, right? So he gave me some instructions. I take the pole, I run down, stick the stick in there, go to kick my leg up, and it broke. It stabbed me right in the chest. If it had been over a couple of inches, it probably went right through my lungs. Frank tried to kill me. Then, we also had the Morgans, Ron Curry, Dave Simon. Well, we had a lot of tough kids right there. But Coach didn't stop there. Coach always said, to be the best, you had to beat the best. So he took us all over the state. We took on Portage Northern, Portage Central, Lloyd North, Kalamazoo Central. We wrestled Detroit Catholic Central, Lansing Sexton, Lansing Eastern. We went to tournaments up in Howell. We went to tournaments over in Vandercook Lake. We went up to Shelby. We sought the best, Coach sought the best competition he could get for us. One time he got a call from Niles Brandywine. They were having a tournament down there, 16-team tournament. One of the teams couldn't make it. So they called Coach Cox up and asked him if he'd be interested in coming down there. Coach said, sure. So we go down to that tournament. We're the only Class C school in the tournament. We won it. And I might mention, we didn't get invited back again the next year. There was always strength and confidence in numbers. And I remember going out to some of these tournaments at the finals, they would have you line up on both sides of the mat. And there was many times when there'd be a bunch of Guilford wrestlers on one side and the other team would put their best up on the other side. One example of that was the 68 KVA championships. Out of 12 weight classes, Guilford had 10 guys in the finals, and 8 of us were KVA champions.